I think right now I have discovered the true purpose for this Rodin coil, at least in my experiments anyway, and it's a super valuable tool. Let's back up and I'm going to show you what I'm going to set up here. On the right we have my regular Tesla coil. It's connected down the throat to my Rodin coil. It's then connected to the primary of my last coil. Now, I have my oscilloscope out. We're going to go ahead and check the frequency of the first Tesla coil, then the Rodin coil, then the last Tesla coil. Now, what I'm looking for is the frequency to stay the same throughout the whole project. It'll tell me that I'm using the Rodin coil correctly. The windings on the top will go around and do the one pattern. It'll vortex back the other way and do the other pattern. In doing that, it should allow my frequency to stay the same between all coils, and it'll also protect anything coming after the Rodin coil from diminishing my original Tesla coil circuit. So without further ado, let's turn it on. We're just going to go 10.6 volts here. I'm just going to turn it on. Here's our probe wire here. As we can see, we'll put it right here to our secondary of our Tesla coil. And we have 409 to 411 on this. We're going to move this up right here. And again, 409 to 411. So within our Tesla coil, we're resonant. That's not out of the norm. We're going to go ahead and put our probe right here. It's right there to our Rodin coil. And we're still reading 409. Now we're going to go ahead and move this probe right over here. This is our primary of this coil. 409. We're still in range. Let's go to the secondary. We'll go up kind of high. And there we go. We're in the same range now. All three are exactly the same frequency or within 1 or 2 kilohertz of it. That's absolutely amazing. So what's going on? Our Tesla coil's putting out the frequency, our Rodin coil's taking the frequency, saturating between the two coils, then it's moving that over to my second Tesla coil. My Rodin coil is acting as a go-between, or a diode in this situation. It's allowing the frequency and power to get to my second Tesla coil, but it's not diminishing my first Tesla coil. Anybody who's done this experiment would know that as you put the rod down the first Tesla coil, anything that you put after it would act as a load and then change the frequency of the first Tesla coil. This coil negates all that. It doesn't take anything to run it normally on the Rodin coil, but after it, now I'm still getting energy putting out to my second Tesla coil, but I am no longer affecting my primary Tesla coil in its frequency. Absolutely amazing. We're able to prove that out. Now, what does that mean? If I can now take that rod, push it the rest of the way down through that first Tesla coil, now I can create a loop in the system. I can now connect to the bottom of that rod, loop it through every single coil that I want to, as long as that Rodin coil is the first thing coming out of it on this side. Will I need a second Rodin coil? Well, we'll find out. But what we are finding out is this one wire energy is very powerful. It's very awesome, and it's the new way to do things. So this Tesla coil is now proving out way more than just be a sparkler, more than just lighting up light bulbs. Now we're getting usable energy at a distance. We're getting usable energy in a Tesla coil. When you try to hook this thing up to the secondary of this original Tesla coil and try to run this experiment, it'll never work. if you don't put the rod down the center, absolutely never work. It just will not function, and it'll blow out your ZVS. This runs all day on my ZVS. I can run this at 10 volts, I can run this at 20 volts, 30 volts, no issues, no problems, no going out of resonance. Absolutely perfectly stable circuit. And like I showed in one of my other videos, when I want to run more than one coil, I can. Now, I didn't even hit the limit of what I can run, and I put 1, 2, 3, 4 coils on it, plus my original one. So, or 5 coils probably. Absolutely amazing understanding here, and I can probably add 5 more, and it's not even going to drag this circuit down. As a matter of fact, I may be able to ground the other side and double my output, because there'll be more pull in the circuit on the cold energy. Anyway, hopefully this makes you guys understand a little bit more about what I'm doing. The frequency with the Rodin coils for. Again, the Rodin coil is transferring the energy to whatever comes beyond it, and it's acting like a diode in that way that it doesn't mess with the frequency of my number 1 coil, the one on the right, and it's also amplifying the energy. It's going to, as I turn up the first coil, it's going to amplify the energy beyond it and be able to push it out. It all has to do with the 1-wire power of the Tesla coil by putting the rod down the center. Now, the way I connect this Rodin coil, so we see it's in one channel, so channel A, and then it's out channel B. So there's a little bit of a cross there. It's not going through the same one. It's going through opposite turns on it. So hopefully you understand that. But this Rodin coil is absolutely essential to this system when we run it, because if you start changing the frequency in the primary coil by adding more stuff, you'll absolutely ruin the circuit. It's an absolute must. I am 100% satisfied with this Rodin coil, and I believe I found the true purpose of this thing. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.